What happened to it?
I could tell you of the great battle centuries ago. How the traveler was crippled. I could tell you of the power of the darkness, its ancient enemy.
But I won't.
So, here we are, a video that's been in the making for about possibly 4 years now, and yeah, this game when it came out was hyped so much, and oh lord, the disappointment that came from it. And at the time, this was possibly the most disappointing game of its time. And sure, maybe there have been more disappointing games that have come out since, but this was one hell of a game that we need to talk about. Yo, what is up guys? This is Tyrannic Swine here, and welcome to my game review of Destiny. Destiny is a first-person MMO shooter created by the same people who made Halo, yes, Bungie, and published by our worst enemy, or one of our worst enemies in the gaming industry, that is, Activision. The story is set 700 years in the future, and in between that time, thanks to the Traveler, humanity gained knowledge and advanced technology beyond their imagination that allowed them to colonize other planets within their solar system, until an unknown entity known as the Darkness pushed them all the way back to Earth, basically putting them back to where they started. However, when a 343 Guilty Spark lookalike called the Ghost decides to awaken your character known as the Guardian from the dead, somehow, you are then pretty much going up against the forces of the Darkness and must protect the last bastions of humanity alongside the Traveler and hopefully gain back the prowess or pride that they had back in the day. Now, when you think about it, the synopsis of the story for Destiny sounds really fucking cool. The fact that you are a guardian who has to basically protect humanity from the escapade of the Darkness, which is the main enemy of this game, from becoming extinct, and that's pretty much your whole job alongside with all the other guardians. It's the fact that there is no fucking story to this game whatsoever after that point. No. I am serious with this. Destiny was being built up to having such an expansive lore and story to the universe, making it sound like this could be the next Halo game with its, like, the whole knowledge of the enemy, like everything that's been going on. And yes, people were really hyped about this. But when you got to the game, everyone was completely misled by such a huge margin. Game hardly gives you any exposition from the characters you encounter. They are nothing. The stranger that you encounter, the speaker, any of the other guardians that you meet on the hub where you go to after doing missions and stuff like that, they don't say shit to you about what's going on. I mean, seriously, look at this shit.
You don't know how long I've been looking for you. I'm a ghost. Actually, now I'm your ghost, and you? Well, you've been dead a long time. So you're going to see a lot of things you won't understand. This is fallen territory. We aren't safe here. I have to get you to the city.
I could tell you of the great battle centuries ago. How the traveler was crippled. I could tell you of the power of the Darkness, its ancient enemy. There are many tales told throughout the city to frighten children. Lately, those tales have stopped. Now, the children are frightened anyway.
Who are you?
Why have you been watching us?
I don't even have time to explain why I don't have time to explain.
Yeah, seriously, they're keeping all this shit to themselves. They're not explaining a single word to you. I don't know why, but it's awful storytelling. It's like Bungie were trying to keep something secret for the whole game and then reveal it at the last moment, but that never happens, no matter what, from start to finish. And yes, there is an actual finish to this game, which is so disappointing that it's unimaginable.
Take this. There's so much more, Guardian. I've seen terrible things born out in the darkness. Every moment brings them closer. All ends are beginnings. Our fight is far from over.
That's it? What the fuck?
Yes, that's the ending. That's literally the main story ending to this game. And then after that, it's all the DLC stuff, which is obviously where all the story was kept hidden. And even then, it's not that great. The only piece of story you're going to get from this game is from the huge amounts of exposition that your ghost gives you, which is just boring, bland, and you just don't want to hear it whatsoever whilst on your missions while killing things. So, yeah, you're not going to bother with that shit. And the fact that you require these things called Grimoire cards, which is where all the information lies. However, you cannot access those cards within the game itself. You literally have to go on like the website for this game just to access them. So the fact that the Grimoire cards aren't even in the game itself, so you can actually see what the fuck is going on, but the fact that you actually have to come off the game, go on like your laptop or your PC or anything to access the game's website and have to look up the info of the game, is just downright lazy, stupid, and why did they even do this? The story is pretty much a complete joke. No matter what, it's fucking stupid. The story missions don't offer anything whatsoever. It's basically rinse and repeat of the same thing, go from point A to B, do a little bit here and there, killing enemies. That's it. They barely explain anything about what's happening in the universe itself, the whole mythos and everything. I know that one name kept being spewed out a lot, which was Rasputin, but I don't know what the fuck that is, and by the end of this game, and I don't even know how long it took me to do this game, because, like I said, I've been playing this game for so goddamn long, because I've been putting it off for so long, because it's just such a bore and a grind to play. I finally started to decide to actually full-on play it for once, so I could actually make this fucking video. And even then, I don't even know how long it took me. 20 hours? 30, I don't know. I think it's probably even less than that overall, because the missions are so short, but it's just the grind makes it feel so long. I honestly don't know anymore. But yeah, the story is non-existent whatsoever. If you're coming here, I mean, obviously a lot of people know by now, but still, if there are any people who are still interested in wanting to buy the first Destiny game, don't bother. If you're looking for a good story, just know, there are so many other games out there that can offer you a decent story, or even half a story, because Destiny can't even do that, because it doesn't even have a story. So yeah, just completely avoid this game if you're looking for a story whatsoever. And like I said about the characters, yes, there are characters in this game, but you honestly don't give a shit about them because they don't do anything. They honestly expect you to do everything for them. That's pretty much the whole point of the game. It's like you don't even get answers or to any of the questions you're going to be asked, because they literally just side it all the way to like something. I don't know, they just put it aside so you don't even get to find out what it is. And hell, I don't even know if, I think one of the characters literally just vanishes without explaining anything about her background or like whatever about her, and she's gone. I don't even think she's even in the second Destiny game. She's just gone. She just vanishes, and I'm like, that is possibly the most pointless character of all time that I've seen. Hell, Destiny could pretty much fit the whole top 10 list of pointless characters because none of them do shit. I find the easiest way to describe the characters is by having to look at Yahtzee from Zero Punctuation's review of the characters in the game, and this is basically what he said.
Even the cutscenes are, I hesitate to use the word dry, only because every character is as warm and engaging as a bowl of cold piss.
Thank you, Yahtzee, because that is exactly what the characters are, and yep, they're completely and utterly pointless. Now, even though the story is completely and utterly empty, luckily the game isn't. Sort of. I mean, you have different planets that you can go to. Earth, Venus, Mars, the Moon. Pretty much they're the only ones available at this time. And on each of them you have missions that you can do. You have story missions, you can do patrols, which is pretty much going around the whole open area, doing small things to like grind up your character, making them stronger, getting better loot, and like pretty much like ranking up with different sort of allies and those kind of things. And yeah, you also have strikes, which are basically like the story missions, just a bit longer, more enemies to fight, and then there's like a boss at the end of it that you have to take out. And then there's also raids. I mean, I think the raids are possibly the most interesting missions in the game because they actually try to do something a little bit different. Like, everything else is repetitive as shit, but at least the raids try to offer something different. Like, each raid is different. They have like a sort of a challenge or a puzzle that you have to do to figure out. I haven't completed one of them because I don't have enough people to play with, and since I've mainly been playing this game on my own, I've never really had the chance to actually fully assess what a raid offers. But I definitely know from what I've seen from the setup, it's different compared to the story missions and the strikes. The missions themselves are set at certain levels so that when you go to them, at least your character should be the right level for them, or you could just grind and then just completely overpower all the enemies within that mission, and yeah, pretty much just do that, because a lot of these missions you could just replay and grind enemies on, but going to earlier missions is just completely pointless and wasting your time. And luckily all these missions are cooperative. You have fire teams that you can have, I think, up to 6 players in them. Well, actually no, I think it's up to 3 or so because it depends on the mission layout and everything. So I think depending on the mission, like the strikes or the raids, you can have probably about 3 to 6 people in these sort of things. But at least you don't have to suffer through these missions alone. Well, I had to, because by then the game was pretty much dead, but no one would want to play this game because who the fuck would want to, but yep, I had to do all this shit on my own. But yeah, that is what you can do with the fire teams. In between missions, you have a little hub area, which is called the Tower. This is where you can go to hand in missions or complete bounties or get any better weapons or loot, even some smaller stuff like those sparrows, which are your speed bike things, and like ships, better gear, all that kind of stuff, which is nice to see. But the thing is, this place feels kinda empty. Yeah, you have all these stalls and stuff to look at, but the thing is, with other hub areas, other games have managed to put in like little side activities that you can do with other players. This game doesn't have that. It's got nothing like that whatsoever. All you do is just go here, hand in missions and stuff, go back out there, that's it. The only thing closest to doing anything with other people is the fact that you have emotes and stuff, so you can just mess around with people, doing that sort of thing. Or there's like a little football around there that you can just kick around, knock off the edge, and people can go chase and kill themselves. Yeah, there's just nothing to do in this hub area. It's lifeless. All you're going to do is just handing like objectives, missions, and bounties, or just buying something, and that's pretty much it. Other than that stuff, this place is empty. There's nothing to do. Yeah, it's kind of pointless, really. There is stuff in missions or doing patrols where you can collect stuff from enemies, or pretty much by completing objectives and missions where you can get engrams, and you obviously take these back to the hub to the Cryptech, who like unlocks new weapons or armor or any other special stuff for you. Now, I don't know why I'm trying to understand why he got bad rap, but I feel like he's just something there that's there I mean, he just unlocks these things for you, and you're just like, well, why can't you just get new loot instead of having to go back to a hub area to basically find out what this new item is? It's kind of pointless. It's like, can't we just have the new item instead of having to go to this hub area just to unlock what it is? It's kind of a stupid idea, really. However, not everything is completely and utterly shitty and disappointing within this game. Choosing your classes and customization of your characters is actually pretty good. You get to choose between 3 classes: Warlock, Titan, or Hunter. I've only done Warlock and a bit of Titan. I haven't touched the Hunter, but considering the fact that I even decided to have another class is just disgusting. So, but yeah, you're going to have 3 classes to choose from, and I think that's a pretty decent selection. The customization of your character, like changing the face up and everything, that's very disappointing. There is a lot of lacking in the facial customization of your character. I mean, you want to make them look unique, but then people create these sort of things which look ugh. But then again, I mean, hell, it can look creative, but it can look really shitty at the same time. Other than that, the customization of your gear for your character is actually pretty decent. Although very early on your gear might look a little bit samey with some differences, I liked the whole design and feel of the armor and gear for your characters. I thought it looked pretty good, especially when you get higher up, you get a lot cooler looking gear, and you can look like a complete and utter badass at times with some of the things that I managed to unlock, and I thought, yeah, that looks pretty damn sweet. I'd wear that shit myself. But it's just the fact that it takes a while just to get some decent looking stuff. I mean, you're talking about probably getting up to level 20 or even beyond that, which was the original level cap until it was put up to 40 later on. So, yeah, the fact that you have to get to the original level cap just to get some pretty decent shit, yeah, it's a bit bad. Luckily, you'll be able to gain this gear in abundance, just by completing challenges, bounties, killing enemies, doing missions. There's a lot of ways you can get this stuff, so at least you'll be able to get this stuff in plentiful supply, at least. Instead of having to do, grinding for an hour or 2 just for this one specific item. I mean, you probably do have to do that, but as far as I know, I haven't had to grind for a specific item or anything. You just literally get whatever you want whenever you can. Each of the classes, too, that you can pick from do feel different, at least. Each of them have their own specific ability to them, and each of these abilities are pretty damn effective, and you can level up and grind your way to make these powers a lot better. Honestly, it's kind of fun to see what each of these subclasses can do for each of the characters, to see what is different between them, and it does offer variety between the classes. So, I mean, if you're willing to play this game 3 times just so you can see what each class does, you do whatever the hell you want. I mean, if you want to do that, that's your own sort of hell, but me, fuck, I could only do just one. I mean, a little bit of the Titan as well, but yeah, I feel like the whole menu layout for, putting your gear together too and leveling up, that was all pretty nice and decent as well. And honestly, just the classes the way they are, it was done nicely. Also, the more you use the equipment you have, the more you can actually level it up over time, which is pretty good, so you can actually make your gear stronger over time instead of having to just get something else. But then again, most of the time you are going to be getting something else. It's that quick. If you're going to get attached to some gear, don't bother, because there'll be something coming along literally straight away, and even then it can look shittier than what you currently have, which is kind of annoying. But I've seen other games do this before, where it's you have some pretty sick gear and then something better comes along but it looks like shit, and you're like, fuck it, if I want to be more powerful, I'm going to have to put up with this until I find something better. However, the annoying thing is that you cannot trade your items, weaponry, or any of your equipment whatsoever with other players, and that does damage the whole team aspect for this game. I mean, if you could do this shit in Borderlands, which is probably the main design plan for this entire game, the fact that you can't even trade stuff with other players, and you can in that, is downright horrible. I mean, why can't you? If someone doesn't have as good gear, and then you have some good gear but you don't want to use anymore, and you can give it to them, Why can't you do that? It's just stupid. I mean, you can actually store some of your own equipment in vaults, and if you like use another one of your characters, they can actually have access to that gear. Okay, so if you can do that with your other characters that you can use, why can't you do this with other players? That just doesn't make any sense. Now, moving on to the combat. Now, the combat is, for the most part, okay, it was alright, and there is a large selection of weapons to choose from for your character, and each of these weapons are accessible for all the classes. There isn't specific weapons available for specific classes, and you have like choices from a multitude of assault rifles like Scout, auto pulls, you have revolvers or hand cannons as they're called in this game, you have pistols, you have rocket launchers, sniper rifles, shotguns, LMGs, and fusion rifles, which are probably the most interesting weapons of the whole game, even though they don't look like the best weapons of the whole game, which is kind of stupid. But for the most part, I think each of the weapons classes, they actually perform very well when you know how to use them. The assault rifles, though despite different firing modes and each of them feel a bit samey, I think each of these weapons do perform their task very well. And as I've said before, each of the classes have their own specific abilities. Some of them have their own grenade types, but of course each of the classes and the characters have their own special super ability called superchargers, which is like this big giant attack that is really effective and pretty much destroy anything in its path. And it's best to make sure that you use these when you're in like a big situation or a big battle, or if you're going up against a boss, to really severely weaken them. And trust me, you might want to use these sparingly because it does take time for them to recharge. Each of the classes also have a sort of double jump mechanic where you can sort of like hover a little bit in the air. It's sort of like a slow-mo jetpack, but it's okay, but it doesn't always work great. I'm gonna say that now, because sometimes when you're trying to get to like a ledge or something, you can't like grab hold of it. So instead, if you miss, you're just gonna slowly fall down to the ground or to your death, depending on where you're jumping. Now, it isn't too much of a surprise that the combat in this game is half decent, or at least possibly more than half decent, because this is Bungie we're talking about, and these are the guys who created the Halo games, possibly one of the best, if not the best, first-person shooter game series of all time. So the fact that they should be able to at least make the combat good, I mean, it isn't too much of a surprise, but it's just the fact, it just doesn't feel as fun. It's like it's missing a lot of stuff. It's like, yes, the weapons and the abilities, it all feel great, but it's just the fact that everything around this just doesn't work. And one of those things is the enemies themselves, and to be quite honest, these guys aren't the Covenant. Even though there is a multitude of different enemy types in the game, you're not going to remember these guys a whole lot by the end of it. Now, you have 3 different enemy types. You have the Fallen, the Vex, and the Cabal. And honestly, the design of these enemies is kind of interesting. I kind of like them. But that's it. There is barely any backstory whatsoever to these guys. And that's very disappointing. If you want to make a strong enemy group or type, you gotta give them some backstory to make them at least formidable or terrifying, yet these guys are just like bullet sponges to fight against. And the bosses especially, holy shit, they are a pain in the ass to take care of. Not because they're difficult to fight against, or that just depends on what level you are. They're just complete bullet sponges. They will soak up so many bullets and ammunition, so much damage until you eventually destroy them. I mean, trust me, you're going to want to play these strikes with multiple people, because otherwise, if you're doing these on your own, you're going to have such a boring ass time fighting these bosses, and it just gets so boring. I mean, come on. I mean, Borderlands, sure, they were bullet sponges, but at least they were fun to fight against. This, they're nothing. They just have such a large amount of health. They spawn in a few minions so you can actually get some ammunition, since ammunition is spawned from the enemies in this game. And that's pretty much it. I mean, some boss fights had some things going for them, and the last boss fight in the main story tried to do something a little bit different, but no, the bosses were complete garbage. And I mean, the enemies themselves, true, at times could be a bit difficult to fight against, but they just weren't fun to play against. They were just always boring to go up against. And the AI too, oh Christ. I'm kind of surprised that the AI in this game is pretty piss poor, because these guys don't react too much to. Yeah, they'll fire a shit ton of bullets at you, but they're not very strategic. All they'll do is like they'll shoot at you, and then if they're damaged enough, they'll try and hide behind cover, and that's it. Or like special enemies who have like this one ability, they'll just keep spamming that until you kill them. I mean, the AI and control of these enemies is very predictable, and it's like, fuck, it's just so grindy as hell just to get through them, and you're like, Christ, these things are boring as shit. However, there is one thing that I can positively, absolutely say that is good about this game, is its graphics, and holy shit does this game look good. All the other planets look spectacular. I mean, yeah, Earth looks pretty good with its dystopian style set in Russia, which is kind of a weird place to set like the area on Earth, but that looks alright. But Venus looks absolutely amazing with its jungles, and the orange of water that you see is kind of weird, to be honest. But yeah, and then you have Mars, which is just like a mountainous Tatooine or something, and then you have the moon. The moon looks pretty damn nice as well, and it's just looking at the planets overall, the landscapes is just so nice, and you just think if Bungie had put the effort into their graphics, into everything else, especially the story, holy shit, this game could have been great. You also have Martin O'Donnell once again doing the music for this game like he did with the Halo games, and you can just tell the difference in style with this game, with the music. The music is so good. I think possibly my favorite bit is when you're traveling to the tower for the first time. I think that's possibly the best bit, and because that feels like there's something alive in this game. It's like, but it kind of fools you though into thinking that. But the music is so well done, especially by Martin O'Donnell, but it's just sad as hell that Bungie decided to fire him just before the game released. Honestly though, that backfired on him because he decided to sue them, and he won, which good on for him. Thank Christ he won, because he just by that it just shows how fucking messed up Bungie was at the time for getting rid of this guy, because this guy knows how to make great fucking music, because the soundtrack in this game is absolutely gorgeous. Though I wish I could say about the level design. Honestly, going to each planet, it felt the same. Some would be a bit more open than others, and some would be a bit more confined, but the whole layout and design just felt completely the same. It's like each planet was just, it had the same level layout, but it was just re-skinned each time, and well, that was 4 different times, and that got very boring. It just got really boring going from place to place on these planets. Even though it looked great, the level design was just so bland, and it's like there was no construct at all to them. The thing is, each of these planets do have different materials you can find as well that you can help out with upgrading new gear and other stuff like that. But even though some like materials you know are specific to what they're supposed to do, like weapon parts and other stuff, but some others that have like, you can't really tell what the use of these things are. They don't like describe to you what they can be used for until you find out what they are used for. It's kind of annoying. It's like you'll have an abundance of one material or multiple materials and wonder, what the hell do I use this for? What's it for? What do I use this on? And you're like, throughout the whole game, I'm pretty damn sure there were some materials I collected and didn't use them for anything because I had no clue what the hell to use them for. The same can sort of be said for the consumables. I mean, sure, you want to use them, but you don't want to use them at the same time because you can't really find a good enough time to use this sort of stuff because they have a limited time use, and that's it. So you just want to keep these to yourself until you can figure out a way to use them, but other than that, the consumables are just completely pointless. Like I said before, this game is grindy as hell. It really is. Like, when you get to the original level cap, which was 20, even then, it's like, Jesus Christ. It's only 20 levels, but it's so fucking grindy. I mean, you won't get any good stuff until at that point, if not beyond, because the level cap was increased to 40. And even then, I didn't start getting really good stuff until then. So the fact that you have to grind to, like, the highest level just to get some good gear is very poor level in design. Throughout these levels, you can actually travel around them on your little speeder bikes, which are called Spyros, and That's what they are. They're just there to like transport you around. They have no weapons or anything that you can use to make yourself a bit more defensible with them. And there is like sort of enemy vehicles scattered around in certain missions, but you can't really use them because otherwise they'll explode, and they're only a limited time use. But yeah, most of the time you're going to be on your Sparrow. And there's even spaceships that you can collect too. And even though it looked like we could use these spaceships, like they could be space exploration or space battles, nope, these spaceships are literally a glorified loading screen. That's literally what they are. They're just there for loading screens. What? Why? Why have a whole section, a portion of your game that's like dedicated to getting better looking spaceships and have so much art design to like put into making all these different types of ships, but only use the ships for loading screens is just insane. Like, why? Okay, now moving on, eventually when you get to a high enough level, you'll have access to the Crucible, which is the multiplayer section of the game. I'm not gonna lie, to an extent, the multiplayer is actually pretty fun. But at its core, it's absolutely disgraceful. Here's some healthy advice to any new Destiny players who want to play this game at the lowest available rank. You're gonna get destroyed hard, because no matter what, you're gonna be going into lobbies that have full 400 level light cap players. And holy shit, the light level, because there's your normal level up rank, which is like 1 to 40, and then you have your light level, which is your gear level. And trust me, every single player, more or less, is going to be at level 40, 400 light level. And holy shit, if you're going to go into the multiplayer at the lowest available rank and you see a whole lobby of this, you're going to get fucking destroyed. Because the balancing of the player's gear and the light levels is absolutely ridiculous. No one is on even ground. You literally have to grind to full level cap just so you can actually have a chance against these players. Yeah, that's it. That's why what makes the multiplayer in Destiny so infuriating to me is the fact that you have to grind for so goddamn long just so you can actually have a chance against other players. It just makes the multiplayer absolutely broken. Now after that rant, you have 6 different multiplayer matches to choose from. You have Control, which is where you capture zone points to increase your kill points, which is the most fun game mode of the entire choice you have available. Then you have Supremacy, which is pretty much your casual team deathmatch game mode, but the difference is that you have to kill players to get crests, and that's in order for you to gain points. I'm pretty sure that's kind of like the medal capture game mode you see in Call of Duty, but that's pretty much the most obvious example I can think of, but it works very much like that. Have Elimination, which is a 3v3 one life team deathmatch game mode, and this, like I've said before, is possibly the worst of the game modes. The whole player level difference is absolutely broken to hell in this one. It's incredibly obvious, because you're not going to stand a goddamn chance if you're a lower level. If you're going up against a team of highest level people, you're fucked no matter what. This is one that infuriated me the most and I played the least of. I played it a few times. Those are just horrible. Then you have Salvage, which is where you fight against enemy players whilst capturing relics. So you have to pretty much capture these points and then gain points from them. And this was okay, but this is a bit more under that sort of where higher level people have more of an advantage against you sort of thing, especially if they know where all the spawning locations are. Then you have Rumble, which is your free-for-all game mode. This was a lot of fun. Honestly, I really like this one. Going up against different players, I like my free-for-all game modes, as I have experienced in earlier Call of Duty games like Modern Warfare 2 or Black Ops, which had so much fun with those free-for-all game modes, and this one was fun too. And then you have Combined Arms, which is a big team deathmatch version of Control. Honestly, this was pretty much the best game mode of the whole multiplayer selection. Not gonna lie, every match I played of this was a hell of a lot of fun, even though some matches would have a completely overpowering team. The fact that I've still managed to get some kills in those, still pretty much a lot of fun. But yeah, 6v6 is pretty much going to be the highest you're going to get in the biggest game modes like Combined Arms and Control. That's the highest you're going to get with like player matches, so you're going to have only 12 players at once, which is fairly low, which is kind of weird for Bungie to have, because we all know the Halo games have been able to have more than that, so it's kind of weird that we have such a limited amount of players in the game modes, even for the bigger ones. And the map design too was a bit mixed. I like some of the maps, like the ones that were set on Mars. Those were pretty sweet. But all the other maps were kind of meh. Like they didn't look like they were designed well at all. And yeah, I just didn't like most of the other maps that weren't set on Mars. They just didn't feel fun to play on. And the map rotation was god awful too. There were so many times I would be playing on the same goddamn map. And this is when I had the full collection. I have the full collection too. And the fact that I kept getting the same maps so often just was really annoying. It was very poor map rotation. And I was like, what the hell? Why is there no different maps to play on? Oh, and the rewards, holy shit. One last thing is the fact that the rewarding system for this game is absolute dog shit. It literally requires pure luck for you to get some good items once you've finished a mission or done a multiplayer match. The prizes you get or rewards you get at the end of these are completely random. It's not based on skill or points or anything. It's just pure luck with what you get. And it doesn't matter if you're first or last. You'll either get something really fucking good or something really shit. It's all based on luck, no matter what. So yeah, overall, the multiplayer is hit or miss. Yes, you can have fun with it, but you need to grind a hell of a lot just to have fun with it. And yeah, that one of the more decent aspects of the game is really hurt by stuff like this. So yeah, overall, Destiny was a really disappointing game. I mean, yes, there's been other disappointing games since, but I feel like Destiny was the first big disappointing game that was hyped to hell, where there was going to be so much stuff that was promised, and then it was just, when it came out, it just shattered. Like, people saw through all the lies and deceit, and then we all saw what the hell the game was, and it was like not even close to a margin of what it was supposed to be. It was just horrifying, and the fact that it came from Bungie of all people, but then again, they were with Activision, so what the hell did we expect? But yeah, overall, yeah, Destiny, though disappointing, there are some fun things here and there, but just all the mechanics and the way the game works just ruins even the good stuff. And so overall, I'm going to give Destiny So yeah, that is my review of Destiny. It's been a long time coming with this video, and definitely one I have been wanting to make. But during that time, we've had another Destiny come out, and of course, I'm going to have to make that video too. Don't know how long that one will take, but that's going to be another one to have fun with. So I hope you guys have enjoyed this video. Leave a like down below, subscribe, comment on what you think of the game, what other games I could review, share this video on social media, and I shall see you guys in the next random video.